Hopefully I won't screw up like I did in my first class and end 10 minutes early. I'm really not feeling good today. So, what does Tolkien do? Kind of alluded to this the other day. With the two towers. If you remember, go back to the end of Fellowship. And the Fellowship ends with what chapter? The breaking of the Fellowship, right? So the breaking of the Fellowship occurs how? We see Frodo and Sam run off. We see Boromir run off, right? He's not dead yet. He's not even mostly dead. Okay? We see Merry and Pippin run off. We see Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli all kind of chasing with Boromir after these two. Okay? And Gandalf is still dead. Okay? Two Towers picks up, and we see Boromir dead, buried. We see Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli. They go off. They are chasing Merry and Pippin. And we have Frodo and Sam nowhere. They're frozen in time, as it were. Okay? And then the whole first book goes off, and Boromir stays dead. Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli meet up ultimately with Gandalf. They go off. They find Merry and Pippin. And then it ends with Gandalf and Pippin go off to Minas Tirith on their own. Okay? And what do Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli do? They're going to take, we don't see it yet, they're going to take the paths of the dead. What does Merry do? He's going to stick behind with Theoden. Okay? It's kind of implied. We don't get all that exactly yet. Book 3 then, no, 4, picks up, and we go back to Frodo and Sam. We go back to Frodo and Sam when? The third evening after this, the breaking of the Fellowship. So everything that has happened subsequently to Merry and Pippin, Gandalf, coming back from the dead, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, Boromir, most of that hasn't happened yet. Okay, Boromir's dead. Merry and Pippin have been captured by the orcs. Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli are still running after them in the fields of Rohan. So, we pick up with chapter 1, the taming of Smeagol. Why is it the taming of Smeagol and not the taming of Gollum?
Because Gollum is the part of him that's ruled by the ring, and Smeagol is the original person.
Good. Smeagol is the original. Okay? Smeagol, notice, by the taming of Smeagol, implies Smeagol is still there. There's still a part of him that is Smeagol. Okay? So, Frodo and Sam, they're standing there at the top of the cliffs. They're kind of figuring out how are they going to get down. And they talk about the smell and stuff. And they finally make their way down. We're going to skip a bit. Sam's, really glad he's got the rope from Galadriel and stuff. Ties a really good knot. They come down, and then Sam kind of, pulls the rope because he's like, I don't want to leave this rope here, man. This was made by elves. We got to keep this rope. And he's like, it's not going to work. And he pulls it, and the rope comes down, and Frodo's like, good thing our lives didn't depend on that knot there, Sam. Okay? And he's like, no. Okay? So, skip a bit and pick up with page 613, okay, in the one-volume edition. They know Gollum's still behind them, right? When did they first realize Gollum is following them? Before then. Moria. It's in Moria. And Gandalf even acknowledges, he's little stinkers back there. Where do they first actually, Frodo and Sam, see him? Nope, before then. At the edge of Lothlorien, they climb up in the trees on the edge, on the outskirts, and they see Gollum down below. Gollum runs off because the elves show up. Okay? And then they get led into Lothlorien, and Gollum never goes into Lothlorien. He just kind of skirts around the outside and waits for him. Okay? And then they see him again when they're on the river going down. They don't see him at Parthgalen at the breaking of the fellowship and all that kind of stuff. But they still realize he's following them. So page 613. We actually hear Gollum again. I think we heard him just briefly outside Lothlorien, and now we hear him again. Okay? Cautious, my precious. You more haste, less speed. We mustn't risk our neck, must we, precious? No, precious, go home. He lifts his head. We hate it. What's he hate? What's he looking at when he says we hate it? The moon. What's he hate even more than the moon? The sun. He doesn't like light. Why not?
He's living in a cave.
Because he lived under the Misty Mountains for 600 years. They thought Bilbo was old at 111. Well preserved indeed, Bilbo said, you know. Gollum, man, that's what the ring will do to you, okay? But notice, he's not a wraith. He's not a wraith, which is interesting. So, he's getting lower down, and he keeps speaking. Where is it, my precious, my precious? It's ours, it is. We want it. The thieves, the precious, filthy little thieves. Where are they? Okay? So, he makes his way down. Gollum jumps down. Sam jumps him. And what does Gollum do? You're not expecting something, and somebody jumps you. What are you going to do? You're going to try to fight back. It's totally natural, okay? So, Gollum bites Sam. Sam holds him. Frodo whips out Sting. Said, "You've seen this once before." And Gollum's like, you know, backs up. He collapses. Don't hurt us, don't hurt us. Don't let them hurt us, precious. They won't hurt us. Really nice little hobbits. We didn't mean no harm, but they jumps on us like cats on poor mice. They did, precious. And we're so lonely. Now, one thing about Gollum, how often, /Smeagol, whichever one, how often can you believe him? /it/them. Can you ever believe him?
Not fully.
Not fully. So when he says, "And we're so lonely," Gollum, is he lying? Is he merely trying to get on their good sides? Is he merely appealing to their hobbit sense of fair play and community? And can't we all just get along together? No, I don't think he is. I think he's being totally honest there. He is lonely. Why?
He's missing the ring.
Is it because he's missing the ring?
It's because it's Smeagol talking to Gollum.
Is it because Smeagol's talking to Gollum? How lonely has Gollum been? Go back for a moment, even though we haven't read it, most of you have. Look what he does in The Hobbit when Bilbo shows up. Can we do some riddles? Because it's kind of hard to riddle them by yourself, because you know the answers. And he has a riddle contest. Right? He misses that kind of camaraderie. Right? So, Sam, what's to be done with it? Tie it up so it can't come sneaking no more? Gollum, but that would kill us, cruel little hobbits. Tie us up in the cold hard lands, leave it behind. Gollum. Would it kill him? Yeah, probably.
What, to leave him tied up?
Especially tied up with elvish rope, which burns him. Why does it burn him? Did Galadriel weave this thing going, Jesus, 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 holy, 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 you know? No, not literally, but it is kind of holy. It's wound, it's woven with the goodness of the elves.
Well, could it also be that since like the elves sort of worship the light, it has like the power of the light? That's probably like the idea.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know that it has the power of Erendil in it, like the file does that Frodo's wearing. Okay, but contrast everything that we know about Galadriel with Gollum. Is he pure evil? Nah, not pure. 99% maybe. I mean, pretty close. Okay, so it would kill us. Frodo, no, we can't kill him. Or if we're going to kill him, we got to kill him outright. Yeah. Poor wretch, he has done us no harm. And Sam's sitting there rubbing his shoulder. It's got a bite wound on it. Says, hasn't he? He meant to, and he means to. I warned. Throttle us in our sleep. That's his plan. Notice, yeah, Tolkien is writing this before that. Tolkien's writing this idea, okay? What is Sam suggesting here?
He won't outright attack.
He will. He does intend to kill us.
But the only reason he's not attacking us is because we haven't captured him.
Okay?
We can
So
see him. Yeah.
So keep going. What else is Sam suggesting?
We should kill him before he kills
Yeah, we should kill before being killed. It's not do not unto others, you know. What you would have them do is do unto others before they do unto you. Kill the SOB now before he kills us. You know what I said, is this before? Philip K. Dick, the short story that he wrote that becomes Minority Report, which China is essentially setting up. I mean, they've got this, they don't have the technology 100%, but their whole social evaluation scale, etc. I mean, where they're trying to stop crimes before they happen. Okay?
Black Mirror of that.
Yeah, or George W. Bush's preemptive war. Strike before they strike us. Okay? Whatever your politics. So, Frodo, I dare say, in other words, you know, Sam, I think you're right. He does plan to kill us, but what he means to do is another matter. Why? This is part of Tolkien's Catholic theology. What somebody means to do isn't yet a quote-unquote sin. Yet you have to do it first. Okay? And he pauses. Gollum lay there. He's no longer whimpering. And we're told, it seemed to Frodo then that he heard quite plainly, but far off, voices out of the past. You could almost say shadows of the past again. What a pity Bilbo did not stab the vile creature when he had a chance. Pity, it was pity that stayed his hand. Pity and mercy. And so he plays the recording.
Meanwhile,
Very well. I know that. Damn you, Gandalf, always right, you know. But still I am afraid. That is, okay, I see him, but I'm still afraid. And yet, as you see, I will not touch the creature. Notice he doesn't name him. He's still the creature. Why?
still playing some distance.
Yay, not a hobbit. He's not like me. For now that I see him, I do pity him. What's one of the reasons why he pities him, other than seeing him? I mean, that's key.
I mean, I imagine he probably, like, understands that this is what he could become if he abuses the ring to a certain extent.
Yeah, you were 100% with the first half, and you fell off with the last part. It's not about abusing the ring.
If he
Yeah, just
continues to
having it.
carry.
Merely having it. Merely being a ring bearer. Okay? Frodo realizes, if I have the ring long, that is what I'll become. You can go all Jungian. I mean, Jungian psychology, and you could say Gollum is Frodo's shadow. He's the shadow self,
The shadow from
the
past.
part that, you know, kind of wants out and such. So, I do pity him. And because he pities him, what is he going to do? Go back to the quote. He's going to show mercy. Because Gollum is totally in Frodo's power here, right? Totally. Frodo has the ring. He's got Sting. He's got the mithril coat. He's got Sam's rope. He could tie him up, slit his throat. Okay? And what did he say earlier on? He deserves death. Did Gandalf say, no, he doesn't? No, he said, I dare say he does. You're right, he probably does. At the very least, if you want to go all capital punishment, he deserves death for what? For murder. He killed his best friend. For a ring. Oh, yeah. this ring, you know. So, Sam stares. He hears Frodo speaking. He's like, Frodo, you, Frodo, who are you talking to, Frodo? And Gollum, yes, wretched we are, precious. Misery, misery, hobbits won't kill us. Yes, nice hobbits. Wretched we are. He's speaking truth there. Misery, misery. Is it misery, misery because he doesn't have the ring? Partially. What else does Gandalf make clear to Frodo back in the shadow of the past? Even with the ring, Gollum is miserable. Because Frodo makes the comment, what, Gollum lost the ring just at the right moment for Bilbo to get hold of it, etc., etc.? And he's like, you shouldn't be making jokes. Well, why didn't Gollum get rid of it if he hated it so much? He's like, smack. You're not listening. He couldn't. He didn't have a will in it anymore. Okay? So, we get the taming of Smeagol. They talk. Frodo says, you know where we're going. We're going to Mordor. And you know the way there, top of 616. No, princess, not too nice. I'm done. So you have been there, Frodo says. Yes, Technically, I am confused. Which is the I? Is it me, Gollum, or is it me, Smeagol? I mean, maybe yes, that's Smeagol saying, yes, I've been there, yes. And Gollum's like, shut up. No, you haven't. Okay? Frodo, and you're being drawn back there, aren't you? Yes, no. Okay? So Frodo says, when Gollum says at the end of that next paragraph, don't look at us, go away, go to sleep. He's not going to go away because you tell him to. What do you mean, go to sleep? He's a quote-unquote angelic being. They don't sleep. Okay? But if you really wish to be free of him again, you must help me. What does he mean, be free of him again? I never noticed. I've been teaching this. I've been reading this book since, 40 years. And I don't think I've ever caught that again.
I'm assuming it's before the ring ever came around.
Stop.
Before you ever touched, remember what your life was like, Gollum, before the ring. If you want to be free like that, okay, then you got to help me. And that means helping us find a path towards him. What? Wait. You say I can be free of him by helping you get closer to him. Right? Seems all cockamamie. I mean, what's wrong with the logic of that? Think Tolkien's Catholic Christian theology. He who would find his life must lose it. So Gollum sits up, because Frodo says, you don't have to go all the way. Just lead me to the gates. Lead me to the gates of Mordor. Frodo's, again, he's not a 100-watt bulb, folks. He's kind of dim. Because you go to gates, and what are gates going to have?
Doors.
Guards, at the very least. Locks. So, Gollum says, I'll help you. Frodo says, Sam, get your rope ready. Gollum's like, no, don't put the rope on. Okay, so I'll swear to you. Okay, top of 618. Frodo says, we're not going to take the rope off you, not unless there's any promise you can make that I can trust. Notice, I got to be able to trust it. We will swear to do what he wants. Yes. Who's the he? You, Frodo. It hurts us. So, Gollum. Frodo says, swear. Smeagol, notice Gollum says suddenly and clearly. First he said we, then he says Smeagol will swear on the precious. Frodo, on the precious? How dare you? Think, one ring to rule them all, and in the darkness bite. You're going to swear on that? Well, what does St. Paul say? People swear by. You swear by the highest thing you can think of. That's It's the highest thing he can think of. Why? Because that's the most powerful thing he can think of. Because the ring, in a sense, is more powerful than Sauron, right? Because he poured, we're told, most of his power into it. That's why he needs it back. He's like a 10% charged battery. He gets the ring back, he's back at 100%. Okay? So, would you commit your promise to that, Smeagol? Notice, it will hold you. The ring will hold you. Frodo's not saying, I will hold you, and if you break your promise, I will use the ring, and I will utterly destroy you. Doesn't do that. It will hold you. It may twist your words. Why? It is more treacherous than you are. Okay? So Frodo's warning him. Be careful. Gollum, on the bridge. Then what would you swear? To be very, very good. It's a pie in the sky kind of oath. To be very, very good, what? According to Hitler? According to Satan? Sauron? Smeagol will swear never, never to let him have it. Okay, remember, it will keep you to this oath. So if you're going to swear never, never to let him have it, and the ring is going to keep you to that oath, then what is the ring going to do? It's going to make sure you never let Sauron get the ring. The precious. Ah! We can jump to the end. Never, Smeagol will save it, but he must swear on the precious. No, not on it. All you wish is to see and touch it, if you can, though you know it would drive you mad. Not on it, swear by it. For you know where it is. Yes, you know, Gollum, Smeagol. It is before you. And we get this indication. We get this little description. We've seen this once before. Take that back. We've seen this twice before. Nope, take that back. We've seen this 3 times before. Where people have these kind of visions, okay? For a moment it appeared to Sam that his master had grown and Gollum had shrunk. Where are the other 3 times? It's not dealing with Frodo and Sam.
Gandalf and Aragorn.
When?
Gandalf when he's mainly speaking the words of Mordor at the Council of Elrond.
Okay, but it's not there where they kind of see Gandalf and go, oh, look, we see the real Gandalf. It does involve Gandalf when he comes back as Gandalf the White. And they're like, but you're all white now. Okay? Before that, when Aragorn says to Éomer who he is, I'm Aragorn, son of Arathorn, Elisar, Dunedain, and he's like, and Éomer won't even look him in the face anymore. And the third one was... No, but that's fourth. Now there's another one where somebody's talking and...
Is it Gandalf and Bilbo? When Bilbo's not wanting to...
No, that's just... I mean, that's close, but that's just Gandalf being scary. I mean, because Bilbo's a midget. And Gandalf does what? Gandalf normally comes... Hey, I'm an old man. He stands up straight and is like, you say that again, I'm going to zap you. Okay? I knew what the third one was, but I'm drawing a blank on it now. So, we're going to see this in the future. With these 3, we're going to have almost the exact same image. Okay? A tall, stern shadow, that's Frodo. A mighty lord who hid his brightness in gray cloud, kind of like Gandalf the White, hidden by gray. And at his feet, a little whining dog. Yet the 2 were in some way akin and not alien. Ooh, here's another one. We're going to see in the first half of the next book. Is that right? I think so. Pippin is going to see Gandalf and Denethor.
Yes.
And he's going to see them as with other eyes. One, a mighty stern lord, and a wise and old man, etc. Okay? So, they could reach one another's minds. Gollum raised himself, began pawing at Frodo. Frodo says, down, down, now speak your promises. We promises, yes, I promise. I will serve the master of the precious. Good master, good Smeagol. Go home, go home. And he begins to weep. And Frodo says, take off the rope, Sam. What has Frodo just done? He trusted him. He accepts that oath. What's the problem?
Sam, not.
Okay, Sam doesn't. What else?
Also, Gollum can't be trusted.
Frodo hasn't read the Art of the Deal. Frodo doesn't understand how to negotiate. Why not? What has Frodo not made Gollum do?
Promise not to kill them or lead them to a situation that would get him killed.
Okay, close. You're most of the way there. He hasn't made Gollum define his terms. Sign legal documents. Buy a house. You'll sign a stack of legal documents that thick. And what are they all about? I, the undersigned, Theodore James Sherman, of address, birth date, future death date, social security, children's names. I mean, what do? You identify yourself. And the seller or the purchaser gets totally identified. So how would it be better? We promises, yes, I promise, Gollum, a.k.a. Smeagol, I will serve the master of the precious, from now and henceforth known as Frodo Baggins of number 4 Bagshot Row, a.k.a. Bag Inn, in the Shire, in the Hobbiton, in the west of Middle Earth, in the Third Age, on the planet Arda. Get the idea? And he doesn't do that. What avenue does he lead for himself here?
That he's the master of the precious.
Well, if I become the master of the precious, then I can serve myself. That's a pretty sneaky, diabolical mind. Yes?
Also, back when he first suggests to swear on the precious, he says Smeagol will swear on the precious. And not
Yeah, it doesn't mean Gollum will. And here, and whenever he says I, who's speaking? Smeagol. All throughout. When he says I, it's Smeagol. When he says we, it's Gollum. Because which is the dominant personality? You could say he's got, multiple personality disorder, Gollum is the dominant personality. Smeagol's been buried. Smeagol comes out every now and again. And we're going to see, maybe today, probably not, because we're going to see, the two almost get united. That is, Gollum almost has his cure at the end of this novel. And Sam totally blows it up. Okay? So, Frodo accepts this. He says that's as good as we're going to get. Chapter 2, Passage of the Marshes. Okay? What are the marshes?
The ancient battlefield, I think it's when the United Forces went and attacked Sauron, where it's where the first conflict.
It's the ancient battlefield, the field of Daggerlad is what it was called. Okay? When the last alliance of men and elves fought against Sauron, and thousands died. And now it's marshy land with pools of water, and there's a little path that goes through. Look at page 625. The hobbits were now wholly in the hands of Gollum. I mean, everything rides on Gollum. They did not know, could not guess in that misty light that they were in fact only just within the northern borders of the marshes. The main expansion we get, the description of the battlefield. Not that there was great hope in such a course, that is, in finding this path. On that stony plain there was no cover, and across it ran the highways of the orcs and the soldiers of the enemy. Not even the cloaks of Lorien would have concealed them there. In other words, they stick out like sore thumbs. Okay? And Frodo asks, how do we shape our course now? Smeagol. What's he mean shape our course.
We're gonna navigate.
How do we navigate through this? Well, what's he suggesting about his course? Go back to what he said at the end of the Council of Elrond. I'll take the ring, but I do not know the way. Here, he's asking Gollum,
What's the way?
what's the way? Show me. Must we cross these evil-smelling fens? He says, no. No. Not if hobbits want to reach the Dark Mountains and go to see him very quick. We could go back, and he says, a little way we can go back. He says, but I've gone this way before, and I know how to pick my way through it. Okay? Follow Smeagol, and he can take you through the marshes, etc., etc. Okay? So they go through. Page 627. Notice, as they're marching through, they're on their third day now, they're in an area where there's no life. No birds, really no plants. This is dead land. Okay? They walk slowly, top of 627, stooping, keeping close in line, following attentively every move that Gollum made. Why are they stooping?
They're close to the ground. They're not seeing.
Okay, is that it? They're trying to get really close to the ground?
Are they trying to see the path?
They're following the path close.
Someone just holding the
Okay.
paper close to your face so you can read.
So, the fens are getting more and more wet. The land's getting swampier. It gets dark. And we're told, at last, Sam could bear it no longer. What's all this, Gollum? These lights. Because they're looking off, and in some of the little puddles, there's light. Well, what is a totally materialistic, naturalistic explanation? Swamp gas. Swamp gas. Methane that comes up, and when it pops through the surface, it gives off a little like phosphorescent light, a little glow. That's not it. They're all around us now, these lights. Are we trapped? Who? Notice, not what are they? Sam wants to know, who are they? Sam's attributing to these lights personality of some sort. Gollum looks up. Tricksy lights. Yes, you're all around us. Candles of corpses. Yes. Candles of corpses. Well, Sam did say, who are they? Oh, they're dead people with candles at night. And we gotta thread our way through. Okay, Gollum looks up, says that, and then he says, where's the master? Sam looks back. He sees that Frodo had lagged again. He couldn't see him. That's how far back Frodo is. Okay? He goes back. He sees Frodo standing lost in thought, looking at the pale lights. He says, come, Mr. Frodo. Don't look at them. Gollum says we mustn't. Frodo, all right, I'm coming. They hurry forward, and Sam trips. He fell and came heavily on his hands, which sank deeply into sticky ooze, so that his face was brought close to the surface of the dark mere, a little pool of water. There's a faint hiss, a noisome smell went up, the lights flickered and danced and swirled. For a moment, the water below him looked like some window glazed with grimy glass through which he was peering. He pulls his hands out of the bog and says, there are dead things, dead faces in the water. Dead faces. This is probably based upon Tolkien's experience in World War I. Because we have accounts of men going from one trench line to another, over open field, scrambling out of their trench, crawling on hands and feet to get to the next trench line, and seeing in puddles decapitated heads because the body's been hit by a shell. And the head, okay? We're going to see decapitated heads again later on in the Battle of Minas Tirith. We're going to see orcs take heads from men of Gondor, put them in catapults, and lob them up. Well, that used to happen in the Middle Ages. Why? What is one of the things you try to do in war? You break the will of the enemy. And, seeing your brother's head come flopping before you, you're going to do one of two things. You're going to break their will, or you're going to send them berserkers so that they're going to kill, and they're not going to stop killing. So, Gollum, top of 628. The dead Marshes, yes, that is their name. You should not look in when the candles are lit. So, you didn't tell us, who are they, asked Sam. What are they? Frodo, I don't know, but I have seen them too, in the pools when the candles were lit. They lie in all the pools, pale faces, deep, deep under the dark water. I saw them, grim faces and evil, and noble faces and sad. Many faces proud and fair, and weeds in their silver hair. Those are elves. Those are elves. Elves have silver hair. Okay? But all foul, all rotting, all dead. Tolkien said about Old English literature, Anglo-Saxon literature, like the poem Beowulf, like the poem I read a little bit from the other day, The Wanderer, The Seafarer, and all Old English poetry. He said it's all ultimately about a single theme, the death of man and all his works. The death of humanity and everything we produce. That's what he says all Old English literature ultimately is about. In other words, nothing lasts. Okay? A fell light is in them. I know not who they are, but I thought I saw their men and elves and orcs. And Gollum says, well, yeah, of course. He gives them the backstory. He gives them the history. Yes, all dead, all right. Elves and men and orcs, the dead Marshes. Great battle long ago, yes. So they told him when Smeagol was young. Notice Smeagol remembers his history lessons. When I was young, before the precious came. That tells us, that in and of itself tells us Smeagol isn't gone. He's not totally gone. He can remember a time before the precious came. Great battle, etc., etc. Sam, but that's an age and more ago. Yeah, remember Elrond? Elrond was there when all these guys died. That's how old he is. Okay? And Galadriel's twice as old as Elrond. Sam, they can't really be there. I mean, because when you're dead, you leave. Is this some devilry? Smeagol, who knows? Don't know. Tried once to catch him, and Smeagol is hungry. Frodo and Sam, whoa, man, you're going to eat that stuff? One of us better stay awake when we take naps, Okay? So, they go on. And they keep marching on. They see ring wraiths flying in the sky and stuff. They hide. Go to 632-33. They're outside the gates, okay? And Sam falls asleep. They're on a edge of a pit, kind of like this. Okay? Sam falls asleep. He wakes up, and there's Gollum and Frodo down here. And he looks at him, and he thinks Gollum's trying to rouse Frodo. And he listens. Smeagol promised. Yes, my precious. We promised to save our precious. Not to let him have it. Never. But it's going to him. Yes, here. I don't know. I can't help. Master's got it. Smeagol promised to help the master. Yes, to help the master. Master the precious. But we was the master. But Smeagol said he would be very good. We see played out the kind of internal debate that happens externally. Okay? So Sam listens to this. What does Sam become very clearly aware of? There is a good, relatively speaking, Smeagol, and there's an evil, not relative, it's evil, Gollum. And the evil Gollum wants to become the master still of the precious. And the good Smeagol says, but he's the master of the precious, and we promise to serve him. Okay? And we see, middle of 633. We hate Bagginses. No, not this Baggins. Yes, every Baggins. All people to keep the precious. We must have it. But he'll see. Notice it's capital H. Sauron. He'll know. He'll take it from us. He sees, he knows. He heard us make silly promises. Against his order, yes, must take it. Research, must take it. Not for him. No, sweet one. See, my precious. And he says what? We'll do this. He says, but she might help. Now, we have no idea who the she is at this point. No, not that way. Yes. Okay. Sam's had enough. So he kind of makes a noise. And we're at chapter 3. The Black Gate is closed. Now, what did Frodo make Gollum swear to do? Take us to the gate. And it's a big, stinking gate. And it's heavily orked. Not manned, orked. And Gollum's like, well, you told me to take you to the gate. What are you going to do? Hello, my name's Frodo. Can you let me in? I need to destroy a ring. So they talk to him. And Gollum says, yes, there is another way. Okay. Page 641. There is a third way. The road to the left. At once it begins to climb up, winding and climbing. He says there's an old fortress there. Okay. Frodo says, is it guarded? And Gollum kind of tries to deflect, and Frodo finally makes him admit, yes, it is guarded. Page 643. Because Frodo says, Aragorn didn't trust you, and Gandalf didn't trust you, and they knew you had been there and back, and that everything you did was watched. And he says, they're liars. And Frodo's like, don't call my friends liars, you know. The precious was ours, it was mine, I tell you, I did escape. Frodo felt a strange certainty, this is middle of 643, that in this matter Gollum was for once not so far from the truth as might be suspected, that he had somehow found a way out of Mordor, and at least believed it was by his own cunning. For one thing, he noticed that Gollum used I, and that seemed to usually be a sign that some remnants of old truth and sincerity were for the moment on top. Okay? He said, I found a way. That's Smeagol. So Smeagol, in his mind, believes he found a way, not that he was let out. Okay? Frodo asks again, is it not guarded? He says, yeah, everything's guarded. Okay? So, Frodo's like, okay, what else are we going to do, Sam? Got to do it. Page 644, the end of the paragraph just before the little break on the page. We're told that paragraph is about what they're going to find at the top of that passage. And that Frodo doesn't know what they're going to find, but that if Gandalf was there, he'd go, don't go that way. It was an evil fate, but he had taken it on himself in his own sitting room in the far-off spring of another year, so remote now that it was like a chapter in a story of the world's youth, when the trees of silver and gold were still in bloom. That's all Silmarillion stuff. This was an evil choice. Which way should he choose? And if both led to terror and death, what good lay in choice? If they both end up with me dead, why choose? Why not just sit here and wait? Okay? We're going to see that same kind of question posed later in the novel. After the defeat of the forces of Sauron outside Minas Tirith, Gandalf and the others are going to talk, and Gandalf's going to say, okay, now we have a choice. We can go out and march against Sauron, or we can stay here and build up our defenses. We've got to choose. Okay? So, they go on. 646, 647, Sam starts to talk about olifants, elephants, okay? Chapter 4 of Herbs and Stewed Rabbit. Where are they at this point? Okay, they've made their way south. So Mordor's over here. The Black Gate was up here, or Druin's down here. And there's going to be a valley, the Morgul Vale, that's going to go through here. They're going to take this winding staircase. They're down in this area that's called Ithilien. And it's nice and green because it's not in Mordor. Everything over here is dead, okay? And Sam notices, where in that chapter? Sam notices around 652, Frodo's looking pretty thin. I mean, Frodo was pretty plump before. He's losing a lot of weight. And he's thinking, he needs some good food. He needs a stew. Rabbit stew. So he asks Gollum, when Gollum gets ready to sneak off, find me a brace of conies, that is, 2 rabbits. And he's going to cook a stew. Only problem is, in order to cook a stew, what do you have to do? You got to cook it. You got to make a fire, which is going to make smoke. Okay? But he does. And they get captured. Pages 656, 659. 656, 657. To hear these men's voices, Sam and Frodo realize they're not orcs. They're men. Okay? The men realize these aren't orcs, but what are they? Okay? And one of the men mentions Boromir. Page 658. Frodo, Boromir. Boromir, son of the Lord Denethor, says Faramir. Frodo mentions Denethor. Boromir, son of the Lord Denethor, says Faramir, you came with him? That's news indeed. And Frodo says, do you know the little poem? Seek for the sword that was broken, in Imladris it dwells? He says, yes, indeed. And that's token of the truth of what you say. In other words, you wouldn't know that unless you've been around Boromir. Okay? So, notice, Faramir immediately gets to what? Well, what's the whole purpose of that little poem? Isildur's bane. The thing that brought about Isildur's death. What's Isildur's bane? That's it. In other words, can't answer that. Next question. We must learn more of this. In other words, I will find out the answer to that question. So, they're taken captive. Okay? Frodo, tries to, farewell, Captain, have fun storming the castle. No. You're coming with us. Okay? So they take Frodo and Sam, and as they're making their way back to Faramir and his men's camp, page 661, they get ambushed. And Sam gets his first experience of human warfare. Bottom of 660. He came to rest in the fern a few feet away, face downward, green arrow feathers sticking from his neck below a golden collar. His scarlet robes were tattered. His corselet of overlapping brazen plates, that is bronze, was rent and hewn. His black plaits of hair, braided with gold, were drenched with blood. His brown hand still clutched the hilt of a broken sword. It was Sam's first view of a battle of men against men. He did not like it much. He was glad he could not see the dead face. He wondered what the man's name was and where he came from, and if he was really evil of heart, or what lies or threats had led him on the long march from his home, and if he would not really rather have stayed there in peace. All in a flash of thought. Sam experiences that. Why do we get the comment, or what lies or threats had led him on the long march from home?
He's still doing the same thing in a way.
Possibly. Was Sam lied to?
No.
Was he lied to at the Council of Elrond? Was he lied to by Gandalf? No, not really.
He just wasn't told a lot.
He was told what they knew.
Did he regret? Did this fallen soldier regret his choice?
Yeah, I think he's suggesting. I think Sam's, instant of thought is suggesting maybe this guy doesn't really even want to be here. Maybe the only reason he was here is because his leaders lied to him. Okay? Again, I think that's Tolkien's personal experience of war coming into play. Okay? Maybe it's Tolkien thinking, my leaders, my prime minister, lied to me. Or maybe it's the Kaiser Wilhelm, lied to the German soldiers. Bear in mind, when he's writing this, he's probably during World War II. And Tolkien would be well aware Hitler lied through his teeth to the Germans about the whole Aryan race nonsense. Right? Tolkien was asked, trying to remember where this comes out. Tolkien was asked either in the late 30s, to deliver a lecture in Germany. Something about Germanic literature. And it was this kind of, because you're German, last name Tolkien means overbold. It's a Germanic name, okay? Although he is English. It's a Germanic name. And, because the people who invited him thought because of his lecture on Beowulf and all this kind of stuff, that he possibly supported. And Tolkien's like, I don't like you Jew-hating, goose-stepping morons. And he said, no, I won't do anything to support anything you do. Okay? So, what else do they see? How did this whole kind of part begin? Just before the battle. Oliphants, Sam tells a poem about, and they see elephants. Okay? Then we get chapter 5, The Window on the West. So, they continue making their way to the camp, and Faramir keeps asking Frodo questions. He wants to find out more about Isildur's Bane, or Isildur's Bane. Okay? He says, so if Isildur's Bane was mentioned, then you must be the halfling that was named. And doubtless you brought this thing, whatever it is, to that council. You deny it? Frodo. He doesn't answer. Faramir. I take more information from your silence than you were aware. You answered it for me. Okay? Frodo, it's not that I choose not to answer. But it, whatever the it is, doesn't belong to me. It's not mine. In fact, if it belongs to anybody, it belongs to Aragorn. Okay? Why not Boromir?
He's the son of the steward.
Yeah, because, that's what Faramir asked. Why not Boromir? And Aragorn, Frodo says, because Aragorn is descended in direct lineage, father to father, from Isildur, Elendil's son. So what has he just told Faramir? You're going to be out of a job. Because Faramir is the son of Denethor, the steward of Gondor. Boromir is dead, so when Denethor dies, Faramir will become the steward of Gondor. Only problem is, there's a guy alive who, if things work out, he will become the king of Gondor. What need for a steward when the king is back? Notice, Frodo says this publicly, so that Faramir's men, a murmur of astonishment ran through all the ring of men. The sword of Elendil comes to Minas Tirith. Great tidings. This would be like Parliament today, Excalibur, back. See, in true Arthurian myth, Arthur isn't dead. He's in Avalon, this mystical isle. And when Logres, its real name, Britain, England, has its greatest need, Arthur will return, and he will return with Excalibur to defend. So imagine the Prime Minister says, Arthur's back. He's not here, but he's been seen, and he's got the sword. Okay. Britain's enemies, such as they are, what are they? Would essentially cower. So, Faramir, maybe, chill out, guys. You don't know any of this is true. He says, we need some proof. Maybe this Aragorn could prove it. Frodo. Boromir was satisfied. Boromir acknowledged him. Now, if you go back to the Council of Elrond, when did Boromir accept that? Big divergence from the film, by the way. It's when Elrond says, because Boromir says, who the hell are you? Elrond stands up and says, that's Aragorn, son of Arathorn, descended in long line directly from Isildur, Elendil's son. Sit down, sonny. Shut up, Boromir, because you're nothing compared to him. Okay? So, they keep talking, and Faramir finally says, towards the bottom of 664, so you keep talking about Boromir, so you'd be sad to hear Boromir's dead. I would grieve indeed. And then it hits him. Wait, Boromir's dead? Because what does Frodo immediately jump to? What idea? If Boromir's dead, they've all got to be dead. I mean, because Boromir's a stud. I mean, if they kill Boromir, then yeah, Aragorn's not anything to laugh at, But Aragorn's dead too. Dwarf, he's got her. Lego's probably dead. Who's definitely dead?
Definitely.
Merry and Pippin. Okay? Wait, so you've been trying to trick me. I would not snare even an orc with a falsehood. I wouldn't even lie to an orc. That tells us something about Faramir's character. He's going to say something else in a moment, which the film totally obliterates, okay? So, how'd he die? Frodo asked. Well, I thought you would tell me. He was breathing when I last saw him. Notice he doesn't tell Faramir when he last saw him. Oh, he was not only breathing, he was trying to take the ring, Okay? So, they keep talking. They make their way to their camp. Faramir says how Boromir was seen. The boat showed up on the shore. There's Boromir lying in it. All this weaponry lying about him. His sword, his broken horn, elven cloak, kind of weird. Okay, what else? Big, WWE, wrestling belt around him, because that's what he goes for. And Frodo's like, yeah, that was given to him by Galadriel. Yeah, the sorceress of the Golden Wood, And the cloak was, like this one. Okay. So Faramir's like, he was breathing when I last saw him. Page 668. Frodo mentions, I heard him blow the horn once. When we left Rivendell, he blew the horn. Remember, because Elrond says, don't go blowing your horn, man. It just attracts problems. So, Frodo says, top of 668, the day when you heard it blowing, if your reckoning is true, was the day when we parted, when I and my servant left the company, and now your tale fills me with dread, because I think they're all dead. Okay? Will you not put aside your doubt of me and let me go? I am weary and full of grief. That is, I'm tired, and now I'm saddened, because I think all my friends are dead. But I have a deed to do or to attempt before I'm slain. Why or to attempt?
If they killed all of those guys, what
Okay.
hope is Frodo?
Okay, what else? What's that showing us about Frodo's mindset? Doesn't think he's going to make it. He's already given in. I mean, he's already maybe not full of despair, but he's getting full. In the more need of haste, if we two halflings are all that remain of our fellowship. But that is, you got to let me go because I don't have much time. If us two midgets are the only ones left to fulfill our task, go back, Faramir, Captain of Gondor, and defend your city while you may. That's Billy Crystal's Have Fun Storming the Castle, or Miracle Max in Princess Bride. Because what's he think when he tells, Private Roberts there, if you've seen Princess Bride? You're going to die. Have fun dying.
Yeah,
That's what Frodo is telling Faramir. And let me go where my doom takes me. He's using doom in the exact same sense Boromir used it when Boromir talked about the poem. Okay? So what doom comes? And Aragorn's like, it didn't say that. Aragorn corrects him. He says, you're not a very good reader, Boromir. Here, let me correct that interpretation. It's not doom. It's the doom of choice. Or maybe it's Gandalf who says that. Okay? Faramir, calm down. Don't go running off half-cocked. Okay? So, they continue talking, page 669. Notice they break off for a while, and then when they start talking again, it's just Faramir, Frodo, and Sam. And Faramir says, I broke off our speech not only because time was pressed, but we were getting the stuff that everybody else shouldn't hear. You and Boromir had a problem about Isildur's Bane. I told no lies. Told you the truth. He goes, no, I understand. You spoke with skill. I learned or guessed more from your words than you said. You were not friendly with Boromir, or at least you didn't part in friendship. No, you guys have some grievance. Don't get me wrong. I loved Boromir dearly, and I would gladly avenge his death, but I knew him well. Now, this could just be the speech of a wily rhetorician wanting to get in on Frodo's good side. I would hazard that Isildur's Bane lay between you. It's a mighty heirloom. Am I close? Yeah, close. No contention in our company. He goes, yeah, that's what I thought. It was just Boromir. Boromir alone. He wished this thing to brought to Minas Tirith. It is a crooked fate that seals your lips who saw him last. Okay? He goes on and says, I pressed you. But he also talks about Boromir. What motivated Boromir? Always. Glory. Fame. Why? Because he is a typical Anglo-Saxon warrior. He's Beowulf. We're told at the very end of the poem Beowulf, he sought praise more than any other man. He sought fame. He sought glory. Why? Because in that old Germanic warrior ethos, that's all you have. Because when you die, there's no heaven. There's no hell either that we popularly think of. You just die. If you're lucky, if you're a good warrior, you go off to the Germanic Valhalla. Anybody know what Valhalla means? Val. Halla. This is hall. The hall of the slain. And in Germanic fashion, you go off to the hall of the slain and you party. I mean, no American college fraternity has ever partied like these dead warriors party. I mean, they party hardy. Okay? They're just kicking time. What are they waiting for? Ragnarok. The end of the world. When Loki, the frost giants, the dwarves, the elves, what are called the Orkneys, all the forces of evil line up against men and gods, the good gods, and all the forces of goodness and the dead slain warriors. And they have the final cataclysmic, apocalyptic, Armageddon-ish battle. And in most of the Germanic mythology surrounding Ragnarok, guess who wins? Loki and the forces of chaos. Good is utterly defeated. Turn off the lights as you leave. That's it. Okay? That's pagan Germanic mythology. That's the kind of mythology dominating, for the most part, Middle Earth. In Middle Earth, there is no heaven that you go to, period. You die if you're a man. You go to the halls of your fathers, whatever that, it's never spelled out. Okay? So, he's a warrior. He wants to die, and he did, right? He died very well. Boromir said, oh, Aragorn, I failed. Aragorn's like, failed? Hell no. Look around you. Aragorn says you didn't fail. You didn't fail. You died well. Okay? How else did he not fail? He realized his error. And he told Aragorn, I tried to take the ring. He hadn't. Catholicism, what do you need to do before you die? You have to ask forgiveness. Last rites. Aragorn's the priest there.
And he is king.
And he's king. Hands of a king are the hands of a healer. Okay? I've never mentioned that before. Just got chill bumps thinking about it. It's pretty cool. So, they go on. And Frodo mentions Gandalf. I know him. And they talk. Okay? And we get this little, teeny, tiny bit of background about Gandalf that we get more of in the Silmarillion. Bottom of 670. Mithrandir among the elves. Tharkun to the dwarves. Olorin I was in my youth in the west that is forgotten. That's not the west Valinor. That's the west of Middle Earth that no longer exists. See, in the great battle where they defeated Morgoth in the Silmarillion, the world was remade. See, at that point, the world was flat. Morgoth gets defeated, and the gods, Manwë and the others, come into the rest of the world, and they bend it. Which is why you can't get on a boat now, unless you're an elf. You can't get on a boat now at the Grey Havens and jump off into the Great Sea and sail over to Valinor. Only the elves can do that. Why? Because that's ultimately where their home is. Even though they die and they come back. Okay? So, Frodo says, Gandalf. So they keep talking. And Faramir tells Frodo a lot about Gandalf and his meeting up with Gandalf. Bottom of 671. Fear no more. I would not take this thing. He doesn't know yet it's the ring. I would not take this thing if it lay by the highway. That is, if I was just walking along, fat, dumb, and happy, and I saw Isildur's Bane, and it had a sign that said, Isildur's Bane, I wouldn't stoop down and pick it up. Not were Minas Tirith falling in ruin, and I alone could save her so, that is, thus, using the weapon of the Dark Lord for her good and my glory. It's kind of based on that Tolkien says the ring is not the atom bomb. Why? Because in the real war, the West used the atom bomb. And we didn't come up with the idea of it on our own. We got it from whom? Einstein. German. Mordorite, if you want. And guess what? Germany was working on it before we were. They couldn't develop it. We did. Boom. I become Shiva. destroyer of worlds. Okay? I do not wish for such triumphs, Frodo, son of Drogo. Notice what he's saying there. He comes to the conclusion, the exact same conclusion, that Gandalf and Aragorn and Elrond say back at the Council of Elrond. It cannot be used. If it's used, then what will develop out of the country that it saves? The same kind of dark ideology. It won't be good. Okay? So, they continue talking. Faramir gets some food and some hooch, some alcohol into Frodo and Sam. So they've relaxed. They maybe cleaned up a little. They've gotten their bellies fat. They've had some good drink. They keep talking, skipping a bit. On page 680, they're talking about Galadriel. Faramir says, man, she must be a looker. Perilously fair. Sam, I don't know about perilous. What do you mean perilous? Okay. Perilously fair. What Faramir means is she might be so beautiful you could lose your life. So beautiful it would kill you. Sam, I don't know about perilous. Strikes me, folks takes their peril with them into Lorien and finds it there because they brought it. And he goes on, now, Ixnay on the Boromir, babe. I'm not going to say anything bad about it. And he goes, no, go ahead. You said no Boromir, you would say. What? He brought his peril with him? Yes, sir, begging your pardon. Fine man as your brother was. Sorry, I always throw into these accents because I'm used to the BBC radio version, which is fantastic. As I may say so, but you've been warned on this all along. No, I watched Boromir and listened to him. From Rivendell all down the road. Looking after my master, as you'll understand. Not meaning any harm to Boromir. It's my opinion. And Lorien, for the first time, he saw clearly, well, I guess sooner, what he wanted. He wanted the enemy's ring. And Frodo's like, Sam! Let's stay on the ring, you know? Don't
tell what it is.
Sam, there you go again. Whenever you open your big mouth, and then he says to Faramir, now look here, sir, don't you go taking advantage of my master because his servants know better than a fool. His name, by the way, Samwise. Sam means half. Half wise. Not quite dealing with a full deck. Okay? But handsome is as Samson does, now's a chance to show your quality. Show me who you really are. Show me really what your character is, Mr. Faramir. Same kind of stuff he says to Strider, right? Back at the Prancing Pony, when he says, I don't trust him. Okay? And Frodo says, once Gandalf's letter is discovered, and they read the poem, all that glitters, is not gold, all that wander are not lost, etc., etc. And Frodo says, I kind of thought if you were an enemy, you would look fairer. But Aragorn's like, no, I get it. So you're saying, I look foul, but I feel fair. Which is why Aragorn should not be Viggo Mortensen. Because Viggo Mortensen could be 120 years old, dressed in rags, and he'd still be Viggo Mortensen. Okay? Sam Elliott. You know who Sam Elliott is? That's Aragorn. Handsome, but, looks like he's been in a few fights. Rugged, and he's got the deep grip, and he's tall. Long legs. Aragorn's first nickname wasn't Strider, it was Trotter. Because he walked around on these long legs. Anyways, Faramir. Sauron's ring. The one ring to rule them all. I mean, he doesn't say these words, but he knows what it is. The Ring of Rings. Frodo and Sam jump from their stools. They go back to back, and they pull out their swords, which to Faramir, they're daggers. So put those things down for yourself. Alas for Boromir, there, it was too sore a trial. How you have increased my sorrow, you two strange wanderers. You are less judges of men than I of halflings. We are truth speakers, we men of Gondor. In other words, we true men of Gondor. We both seldom and then perform. That poem that I read part of, The Wanderer, has a line in it that is all about boasting and performing. And it essentially says, don't make a boast about something until you know what your heart's going to do when you're put in that situation. Because if you make a boast and then you don't fulfill it, what happens to your fame? Instead, it becomes foolishness, and you become the butt of the jokes. He says, not if I found it on the highway would I take it, I said. Even if I were such a man as to desire this thing, that oath would hold me to it. That is, I know what it is now. I can take it from you. Wouldn't be hard. But I'm not gonna. What do they do in the film? He has Faramir, Peter Jackson, has Faramir not just take the ring, he takes Frodo and Sam to Osgiliath. Why? Because it's the next way to Minas Tirith. He's going to take him to Minas Tirith. Here, Daddy, take the ring, become a new Dark Lord. Totally obliterating his character. Why? Is it that he's too good? Is this a stock character? Is he flat? Like you look at Faramir and go, nobody's like that. Because, Jared, you go, hell yeah, I'm taking the ring. Ultimate power, No, there are some like this. Okay? So, chapter 6, Forbidden Pool. Yeah, it didn't get nearly where we need to. So they capture Gollum, and what does Faramir do to him?
Skeleton.
Does he say, let us kill him? Ooh, this will be fun. He says, how does he know they can't trust him? He says, look at me. We're going to see in the next series of novels, somebody's going to say, look at me. It's kind of interesting. Look at me. And so he peers deep into Gollum's eyes, and he says, there is malice there. I wouldn't trust him entirely. And Frodo's like, okay. Show me then. How do I get into Mordor? He's been there and back. Unless you can show me some other way. I can't. Okay? So they leave. Okay? Journey to the crossroads. We're not going to get through where I need to, but we can get through this part of this. They make their way to the crossroads. And the crossroads are right here. Crossroads go like this. Okay? This is mountain range. And they get to this point. This way lies ultimately the sea. Okay? So they get there, and what do they find at this crossroad? There's a big statue. The statue's been knocked down, and the head's been knocked off. Page 702. The light is shining, that is, the sun is shining. It shows on Sam's face, and Frodo turns and looks down, and he sees boughs of trees, okay? But the boughs of trees don't obscure the sun, because the sun is shining. I don't know if you've ever experienced it before. I've experienced it backpacking. It's totally awesome. And it falls through the boughs so that you get this direct ray of sunlight shining right down. And what does it do? It lands on the head of the statue, lying on the ground. And that statue has golden flowers wrapped in vine around its head. And Frodo says, look, Sam, look, the king has got a crown again. There's a couple of things going on here. One, foreshadowing. Two, mini, M-I-N-I, eucatastrophe. This is, again, the natural world telling us darkness will not prevail. But then what happens? Sun goes down, darkness prevails. And Frodo says, they cannot conquer forever. Which takes us to the last chapter. No, not quite the last Second to the last chapter. Take that back. Because we have Sheila's letter. Third to the last chapter. Okay? And we don't have time. We're going to pick up, they make their way up the stairs of Cirith Ungol. And we're going to pick up Thursday and finish. We'll definitely finish all of them. We'll probably get through. We might get through the first half of Return of the King. We'll see. But we're going to pick up with page 711. So if you've not read it recently, reread from 711 to and definitely the rest of that chapter. And Choice of the Master Samwise. Just reread them. Quiz over all of Two Towers for Thursday. Probably. All right. 11:04. 1 minute early.
So, like, if we've already read the beginning half of The Return of the King, then we should probably go back and read this. Like, over.
I mean, sure. Or just read ahead and Return of the King. But, I mean, for the quiz, yeah, you might want to just...
By the way, sir, I'm Jacob, not
Jacob, sorry.
You called me Jared like twice now. I'm just like, okay.
I think I've got somebody else who...
To be fair,
I think I wrote Jared in your...
I was almost named Jared.
No, I've got Jacob written down.
Yeah.
I wrote Jared.
Well, and like when you were handing back the test, you knew I was Jacob there as well. So.
Started with a J and ended with a consonant, so, you know.
You pass out the quizzes.
Yes, I did.
I'd like to have my quiz back. It's Jaeger with the J.
Good job.
Washington, D.C. address.